Let's talk about fat. It's probably the most confusing, most debated topic in all of nutrition, right? For years, you had one group telling you to fear it, saying it clogs your arteries and makes you gain weight, cut out the fat. Then a whole other movement comes along and tells you to embrace it. Put butter in your coffee, eat more bacon, because fat is this amazing fuel and sugar is the real problem. This fight has shaped everything from what's in our grocery stores to official health advice, and it's left most of us just stuck in the middle. So what if we just ignored all the noise, all the ideology, and just looked at what the science actually shows? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today.
So let's just ask it straight up. Is fat a friend or a foe? I mean, is it something we need to be healthy? Or is it the cause of our biggest health problems? And this isn't just some abstract question, is it? The answer literally changes what you decide to eat every single day. Do you go for the avocado toast or the fat-free yogurt? The steak or the skinless chicken? The truth is, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. The real story is so much more interesting and way more nuanced than either side wants you to believe. And to get it, we've got to start by understanding what we're even talking about.
Okay, let's break down the two opposing sides. In this corner, we've got Team Low Fat. This idea has been the champion for almost 50 years. It's all built on the belief that dietary fat, especially saturated fat, goes straight to your arteries and causes heart disease. Their playbook is simple: lean meat, low-fat everything, and stay away from butter and oil. And in the other corner, you've got the challenger, Team High Fat, with keto as its star player. They say the low-fat advice was a huge mistake. Their argument? Fat is a great source of energy, and the real bad guy all along has been sugar and carbs. So who's right? Well, as we're about to find out, they both get a little piece of the puzzle right, but they both kind of miss the big picture.
So to see that bigger picture, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by getting past all the arguments and just look at the science of what fat even is. We'll check out all the super important jobs it has in your body, and trust me, it's way more than just energy. Then we'll tackle the big one. Does eating fat actually make you fat? We'll even look back at the history of this whole debate to see how we got here. And then at the end, we'll wrap it all up with some real-world advice to help you figure out what makes sense for you.
All right, first things first, we are leaving the diet wars at the door. This isn't about picking a team or defending a diet. It's about looking at the actual evidence so that you can make a smart decision instead of just chasing the latest trend. So let's start from square one. To really get into this, we all have to be on the same page. The word fat gets thrown around all the time, but what does it actually mean from a biological standpoint? Here's the key. It's not just one thing. It's a whole family of different molecules, and they all have incredibly different and really important jobs to do in your body. In the science world, fats are called lipids. They're one of the three main macronutrients, along with protein and carbs that we need to survive. And their job description? It's huge. They're our most powerful energy source. They literally build the walls of every single cell in your body. They're like padding for our organs, and here are two big ones people always forget. They are the raw material for our most important hormones, and you absolutely need them to absorb certain vitamins like A, D, E, and K. Seriously, without fat in your diet, all those critical jobs just grind to a halt. But, and this is so important, not all fats are created equal. This is where so much of the confusion comes from. Lumping all fats together is like saying a sweet potato and a candy bar are the same just because they're both carbs. It makes no sense, right? Based on how they're built, we can put fats into three main buckets: saturated, unsaturated, which has a couple of its own types, and the one everyone's heard of, trans fats. Understanding these different types is the key to all of this. So where are these fats hiding in your kitchen? Saturated fats, the ones that have been public enemy number one for a long time, are mostly in things like butter, red meat, and also coconut oil. Monounsaturated fats are the big stars of the Mediterranean diet. Stuff like olive oil, avocados, and almonds. Then you have polyunsaturated fats. These include the famous omega-3s and omega-6s that our bodies can't make. You find them in fatty fish like salmon and also in walnuts and flax seeds. And finally, artificial trans fats. These are the ones made in a factory, and they are the one true bad guy in the story. Pretty much every scientist agrees on this. Stay away from them. Okay, so now we know what they are, but what happens once you actually eat them? For the longest time, we all thought of body fat as just, this passive storage tank for extra calories, something to get rid of. But what's so cool is that modern science has totally flipped that idea on its head. We now know that our fat tissue is an incredibly smart, incredibly active organ that's talking to the rest of our body all the time. This quote right here just nails this huge shift in thinking. Adipose tissue, that's the science name for body fat, is an active endocrine organ. That's just a fancy way of saying it's a hormone factory, just like your thyroid. It makes and sends out powerful hormones that talk to your brain, your immune system, your metabolism, everything. It's not just sitting there. It's like a command and control center for your body's energy. This role is absolutely critical.
So let's follow the journey of that fat you just ate. It gets broken down and then sent out into your bloodstream. From there, it has a few different job options. It can get burned for energy right away. It can be used to build or repair cells. And this is a big one. Cholesterol, which is a type of lipid, is the literal starting point for all our major hormones, like testosterone and estrogen. You can see why going too low on fat could cause some problems, right? And finally, if you have more energy than you need at that moment, the leftovers get put into savings, which is your fat tissue.
And that last part, storage, brings us to the million-dollar question. The one that started all the diet wars. Does eating fat make you fat? I mean, it's right there in the name, isn't it? Eat fat, get fat. It sounds so simple. But the real biology is way more interesting than that, and once you get it, you can finally free yourself from all the diet trauma.
So here is the most crucial point, and it's backed by the laws of physics. The primary reason we gain body fat isn't because of dietary fat itself. It's because of a consistent calorie surplus, period. That just means you're regularly taking in more energy than your body's burning. And it doesn't matter if those extra calories come from fat, carbs, or protein. If your body has energy left over, its main job is to save it for a rainy day, and it does that by storing it as body fat. The type of food is less important than the total amount of energy. But, and this is a huge but, here's where the nuance comes in. Fat has 9 calories in every single gram. That's more than double the 4 calories you get from a gram of protein or carbs. This makes fat incredibly energy dense. In the real world, that means it's super easy to eat a ton of calories from fatty foods without really feeling all that full. That little drizzle of olive oil or that handful of nuts can pack hundreds of calories. So it's not that fat is uniquely fattening, it's just uniquely easy to overeat.
And that brings us to the balanced scientific takeaway. No, eating fat doesn't magically turn into body fat. But because it packs so many calories into such a small package, and because high-fat foods are often delicious, it's really easy for them to push you into a calorie surplus. So fat isn't the villain here, but its calorie density means you have to respect it. You've got to be mindful of your portions, especially if you're trying to manage your weight.
Okay, so now that we've got the basics down, we can ask the next big question. If it's really about calories, then how did we get so divided? Why did an entire generation grow up thinking fat was public enemy number one? Well, it all goes back to a scientific idea from the 1950s called the diet-heart hypothesis.
This timeline tells a fascinating and pretty cautionary story. Back in the 50s, a researcher showed data that seemed to link eating saturated fat with higher rates of heart disease. That idea that fat raises cholesterol and gives you a heart attack just took off like a rocket. By the 1980s, it wasn't just a theory, it was official government policy. And the food industry responded by taking fat out of everything and, you guessed it, pumping in tons of sugar to make it taste good. The thing is, the original evidence was pretty weak. And over the last decade or so, there's been a scientific earthquake. Dozens of massive reviews have looked at all the evidence again and reached a shocking conclusion. There's no significant proof that saturated fat is linked to heart disease. This is a monumental shift. This quote from journalist Nina Teichels really hits the nail on the head. The whole idea was built on some weak observations, and when scientists ran better, more rigorous experiments to try and prove the link, they couldn't. They failed again and again to show that cutting saturated fat actually saved lives. So the very foundation of the low-fat movement turned out to be way shakier than we were all led to believe.
So if the old rules are out, and high-fat diets aren't some magic solution either, where does that leave you? This is where we shift gears from the science lab to your actual life, because the single most important lesson from all of this is that there is no one best diet for everyone. The whole point is to find the right balance for you.
If you're looking for a starting point, most health organizations today give a really broad, flexible range. They suggest that fat can be anywhere from 20 to 35% of your total daily calories. For someone eating 2,000 calories, that's anywhere from 44 to almost 80 grams of fat a day. Just how wide that range is tells you something really important. There's a lot of wiggle room. There's no one magic number.
And honestly, this might be the most crucial point of this whole thing. That 20 to 35% range is just a guideline. What's right for you is totally unique. It depends on your goals. Are you an athlete who needs tons of fuel, or are you trying to manage your blood sugar? It depends on your genetics, and it really depends on what the rest of your diet looks like. I mean, think about it. Getting 30% of your calories from the fat in salmon and avocados is a completely different world than getting 30% from pizza and French fries, right?
So let's boil all this down to the simple truths. Number 1, energy balance, calories, is what drives weight change. And because fat is so calorie dense, you've got to be mindful of portions. 2, fat quality might be even more important than the total quantity. Focusing on unsaturated fats from real food is a win for just about everybody. 3, don't be afraid of fat. It's an essential nutrient that you need for your hormones and a million other things. Going super low fat can cause more harm than good. And finally, number 4, stop looking for the one best diet. It doesn't exist. The best diet is the one that you can stick with, that helps you reach your goals, and is based on whole foods. Context is everything.
And so we're gonna end not with an answer, but with a question for you. Now that you've seen the evidence that fat isn't the bad guy, that its job is complicated, that quality really matters, and that the old case against it has fallen apart, what does that mean for what you put on your plate? Instead of picking a diet camp, the science actually empowers you to become your own health detective. The real goal isn't to be low fat or high fat, it's to find the right balance of healthy fats that fuels your body and helps you feel amazing.